In the words of the Buddha, holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. You are the one who gets burned. Anger is one of the greatest enemies of peace, a fire that consumes our judgment, our compassion, and our happiness. When the flames of anger rise within us, we lose sight of wisdom and kindness. We speak words we later regret. We act in ways that harm ourselves and others, and we allow negative emotions to dominate our hearts. The Buddha taught that true victory is not found in defeating others, but in conquering our own minds. To win 1,000 battles brings only fleeting glory, but to win over one's own anger is to attain lasting peace. Every moment we choose patience over rage, understanding over resentment, we water the seeds of enlightenment within us. To extinguish the fire of anger, we must first understand its nature. Anger arises when desire is thwarted, when pride is wounded, or when fear clouds our perception. It thrives on ignorance, the illusion that others are the cause of our suffering. But the Buddha reminds us that suffering begins within the mind, and so does freedom. When we observe anger with mindfulness instead of reacting to it, its power weakens. Like a flame deprived of oxygen, it slowly dies out. Through meditation, compassion, and right understanding, we can transform anger into empathy. We begin to see that those who hurt us are themselves suffering, driven by their own ignorance and pain. Responding to them with hatred only fuels the cycle of suffering, but responding with compassion breaks it forever. True victory, therefore, lies not in conquering enemies, but in mastering oneself. A person who controls his anger is stronger than one who conquers a city. Self-control is not suppression. It is liberation. It frees the mind from the chains of emotion and allows wisdom to shine forth. The Buddha's path of mindfulness teaches us to pause, to breathe, to see things as they really are. When we meet anger with awareness, we choose peace over reaction, harmony over chaos. The world may provoke us, people may misunderstand us, but if our minds remain calm, no one can disturb our inner peace. This is the highest victory, the victory of the spirit over its own turmoil. Let us, therefore, make a vow to extinguish the fire of anger in our hearts. Let us cultivate patience, forgiveness, and loving kindness. Every time we respond with gentleness instead of aggression, we bring a little more peace into the world. The Buddha's message is timeless. Peace begins within. When the mind is conquered, the world is conquered. True victory lies not in power, not in wealth, not in domination, but in the serene heart that no longer burns with anger. When we look around the world today, we see the consequences of unchecked anger everywhere, in families torn apart by misunderstandings, in societies divided by hatred, and in nations at war over pride and greed. The fire of anger does not merely burn within individuals, it spreads, consuming communities and generations. Yet the Buddha's wisdom reminds us that peace on earth begins with peace within. If each person could extinguish the fire of anger in their own heart, the light of compassion would naturally shine upon the world. Anger cannot be defeated by more anger. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. When we meet hostility with calm understanding, when we choose forgiveness over revenge, we become instruments of peace. The practice of conquering the mind is not an escape from the world, but a way to heal it. It begins with self-awareness, watching our thoughts, recognizing when anger arises, and refusing to let it rule our actions. This is the true discipline of the spiritual warrior, not to fight others, but to fight the impulses that destroy inner peace. Buddha's path teaches that anger is never solved through suppression, but through transformation. Just as dirty water settles and becomes clear when left undisturbed, so too does the mind become pure when we allow anger to settle through mindfulness. Every breath we take in awareness is a step toward victory over the restless storms of emotion. The one who conquers the mind becomes unshakable, like a mountain that remains unmoved even when the storm rages around it. This victory is not loud or dramatic. It is silent, humble, and deeply powerful. To conquer the mind is to discover a peace that no external circumstance can disturb. This is why the Buddha said that the greatest victory is over oneself, because it ends the cycle of suffering and opens the door to liberation. In daily life, we can practice this teaching in simple yet profound ways. When someone insults us, instead of reacting, we can pause, breathe, and respond with understanding. When life tests us with frustration and disappointment, we can remind ourselves that anger changes nothing but our peace of mind. By observing anger without attachment, we reclaim control over our own happiness. Each time we choose patience, we build inner strength. Each act of forgiveness becomes a flame of wisdom lighting our path. Over time, the fire of anger transforms into the warmth of compassion. We begin to see others not as enemies, but as fellow travelers on the path of life, each struggling with their own burdens. The Buddha's message is timeless. Peace cannot be found by changing the world, but by changing the heart. When the mind is conquered, anger loses its power, and what remains is serenity, the true victory that leads to enlightenment. Let us, therefore, strive not to be conquerors of the world, but masters of the mind, for that is where true freedom and victory reside. As we walk the path of life, it is essential to remember that anger is not an inevitable part of our existence. It is a habit, a conditioned response that can be unlearned through awareness, patience, and conscious effort. The Buddha teaches that every moment presents an opportunity for transformation. When anger arises, it is a signal, a reminder that our mind has strayed into illusion, craving, or attachment. By observing this signal with mindfulness, we interrupt the automatic cycle of reaction. We create a space, even if just a fraction of a second, in which wisdom can arise. This small pause, cultivated over time, becomes a profound tool for inner mastery. In that pause, we can ask ourselves, does this anger serve me? Does it serve the world? Almost always the answer is no. In letting go of anger, we reclaim our energy, our clarity, and our ability to respond with compassion. Each time we resist the pull of rage, we are not showing weakness. We are demonstrating the highest form of strength, the strength of self-control and moral courage. Moreover, the conquest of anger is intimately tied to the cultivation of loving-kindness, or metta, which the Buddha emphasized as a cornerstone of spiritual life. Loving-kindness is not sentimental or passive. It is an active force that transforms the heart. It begins with ourselves, accepting our own imperfections, forgiving our own mistakes, and nurturing our own inner peace. Once this foundation is established, our compassion naturally extends outward. Those who practice loving kindness find that their anger loses its grip, for they begin to see all beings as connected, each struggling with suffering in their own way. Even in the face of injustice or provocation, the heart that has trained in patience and understanding responds not with retaliation, but with clarity and purpose. In this way, conquering anger is inseparable from cultivating empathy and wisdom. The mind that has mastered its own fire can illuminate the path for others, bringing calm where there was chaos and hope where there was despair. It is important to understand that this practice is not instantaneous. It is a lifelong journey requiring perseverance, reflection, and humility. There will be moments when anger surges back, unexpected and strong. Yet even these moments are opportunities for growth. Each time we recognize anger without being consumed by it, we strengthen the muscle of mindfulness. Each act of patience, each choice of calm over fury, is a victory in itself, a proof that the mind can be trained and transformed. True victory, therefore, is cumulative, built not in grand gestures, but in countless small decisions to respond with awareness rather than reaction. The Buddha's teachings remind us that the mind is the source of both suffering and liberation. If we master it, no external circumstance can disturb our inner peace. So let us dedicate ourselves to extinguishing the fire of anger in our hearts. Let us practice patience, forgiveness, and loving kindness, day by day, moment by moment. Let us remember that conquering the mind is not merely a personal achievement, but a contribution to the well-being of the entire world. A mind free from anger is like a calm lake, reflecting truth and serenity. A heart free from resentment radiates warmth and compassion to everyone it touches. In the end, the greatest victory is not over others, but over the self. And in that victory, we find the profound peace and freedom that the Buddha promised, a peace that cannot be taken, a victory that cannot be diminished. Let us also remember that the conquest of anger is not a solitary pursuit. It has a ripple effect that touches everyone around us. When we choose patience instead of wrath, we model behavior that others can emulate. When we respond to conflict with understanding rather than aggression, we create the conditions for peace to grow. The Buddha taught that every action, no matter how small, contributes to the moral and spiritual fabric of the world. Our inner victories are not confined to ourselves. They influence families, communities, and even nations. Imagine a society where individuals, instead of reacting impulsively, pause to breathe, reflect, and act with wisdom. Imagine workplaces where colleagues treat disagreements with calm insight rather than heated confrontation. Imagine homes where parents teach children to manage frustration with compassion instead of lashing out in anger. The fire of anger loses its power not through force, but through the steady, mindful cultivation of patience, understanding, and love. Each of us has the ability to be a living testament to this principle, proving that the mastery of the mind is the greatest service one can offer to the world. It is essential to recognize that extinguishing anger does not mean suppressing our feelings or pretending that life's challenges do not exist. On the contrary, it requires courage, the courage to face our own vulnerabilities, our own desires, and our own expectations. Anger often masks fear, insecurity, or pain. To conquer it, we must look inward with honesty, acknowledging these emotions without judgment. Meditation, reflection, and mindful breathing are practical tools that help us observe our inner state with clarity. Each moment we resist reacting impulsively, we train the mind to respond wisely. Over time, the reflex of anger weakens, and in its place arises a profound sense of equanimity. The Buddha called this state the peaceful mind, a mind that remains steady amidst life's storms. Such a mind is unshakable because it rests on insight rather than habit, on awareness rather than blind reaction. It is in this calm, clear space that true victory is born. The victory of a soul that refuses to be enslaved by anger. The victory of a heart that remains compassionate even in the face of provocation. Furthermore, the practice of letting go of anger opens the door to joy and fulfillment. Anger, like a fire, consumes energy and leaves only exhaustion behind. When it is released, space is created for gratitude, love, and creativity. The Buddha teaches that a mind free from anger is a fertile ground for all virtues. Patience, kindness, generosity, and wisdom grow naturally when the corrosive power of resentment is removed. This transformation is not external. It begins in the intimate landscape of the mind. Every act of forgiveness, every moment of calm in the face of provocation, is a seed that blossoms into inner peace and outer harmony. By conquering our anger, we do not merely change ourselves, we contribute to the healing of the world, one conscious choice at a time. In the final analysis, the fire of anger is a challenge given to us not to defeat others, but to master ourselves. True victory lies in this mastery, in the deliberate choice to respond with awareness, compassion, and understanding. A life free from the tyranny of anger is a life of freedom, clarity, and joy. Let us then dedicate ourselves to this noble path, trusting that each effort, no matter how small, brings us closer to the ultimate peace the Buddha promises, a peace that radiates from the mind, flows through the heart, and touches the world. As we come to the conclusion of this reflection on the fire of anger and the conquest of the mind, let us pause and truly internalize the wisdom of the Buddha. Life is filled with challenges, frustrations, and provocations that threaten to ignite the flame of anger within us. Yet, it is in these very moments that our strength of character is tested and our capacity for peace is revealed. True victory is not measured by the battles we win over others, by accolades we collect, or by the power we assert externally. True victory is measured by our ability to remain composed when the world seeks to disturb us, by our capacity to respond with understanding when faced with injustice, by our determination to choose wisdom and compassion over resentment and rage. Each time we hold back an angry word, each time we resist an impulsive action, each time we choose forgiveness instead of retaliation, we are victorious. This victory may be quiet, invisible to the world, but it resonates in the depths of our being and transforms our entire life. The journey to extinguish anger begins with awareness. We must watch our minds as carefully as a gardener watches the growth of plants. We must notice the first sparks of irritation, the subtle stirrings of frustration, and the simmering flames of resentment before they grow into destructive fires. And once we notice them, we must act with intention, not reaction. Meditation, mindful breathing, reflection, and compassion are the tools the Buddha offers us, guiding us to transform anger into understanding and fear into courage. This transformation is not a one-time event, but a lifelong practice. We will stumble. We will feel anger rise, sometimes overwhelming us. Yet, even in these moments, the choice to observe, to pause, and to respond mindfully reaffirms our commitment to inner mastery. With each mindful choice, we strengthen our ability to remain peaceful, calm, and loving in the face of life's storms. Conquering the mind is the ultimate act of courage. It requires patience, humility, and unwavering dedication. It asks us to look within and acknowledge our own vulnerabilities, rather than blaming others for the suffering we feel. It asks us to cultivate empathy and forgiveness, not because the world always deserves it, but because our own hearts deserve freedom from the chains of anger. And when we succeed, even in small ways, we become beacons of light in a world often clouded by conflict and strife. Our calmness, our understanding, and our compassion ripple outward, touching those around us and inspiring others to seek the same mastery of self. In the end, the fire of anger is not a force to be battled with force, but a teacher to be understood and transcended. True victory lies in this transcendence, in the serene mind, the compassionate heart, and the wise spirit that refuses to be enslaved by fleeting emotions. Let us commit, from this moment onward, to extinguish anger in our hearts, to respond with clarity and love, and to master our own minds. In doing so, we do not merely find peace for ourselves, but we contribute to the awakening of humanity. We embody the Buddha's timeless truth. The greatest conquest is the conquest of self, and in that conquest lies eternal freedom, boundless joy, and the profound peace that touches all beings. Let this be our path, our practice, and our highest victory.